Hello everybody, John here, and today on To The Garage we're going to do an overview on Topdon's Artlink 500B, and then I'm going to give one away. Hello everybody, John here, and really nice to have Purdy back in my garage. As you've seen in a previous video, all the bodywork's now sorted out around the arch, sill, boot lid, so that's been fantastic. Just a very quick small print thing before we get going today, and that is either up here or up here, you're probably going to see a little icon that says contains paid for promotion. Just want to clear up straight away that nobody has paid me to make this video. Nobody has sent me any money. I have been given free of charge a product which I'm going to give away at the end of this video anyway. So yeah, rules of YouTube. I have to put that up. Nobody's paid me anything. If we go into my drawers, newly labelled up, we'll see there's a couple of products in here I just want to pull out. I've got that, which is my Topdon battery tester. And I've got that, which is my Artlink 600. Now I've got separate videos on both of these items, which you can have a look for in the playlists, and I rate them both very highly. So my 600 Artlink is an OBD2 Scanner, Reader, Deleter, and for all of your generic codes, this will read them. It is aware of different brands and some specialisms within there. It's not going to read every single code on every Jaguar, for instance. It's not that sophisticated, but for 99% of garage warriors like myself, this is going to do a great job. And it's not specialised to the extent that you couldn't use it when your friend turns up with their Vauxhall. I've also got this thing, and I really enjoy using this. This is my battery tester. It will do all manner of battery testing, and it has this feature that really lights my candle, which is has a printer, thermal paper printer, and that means I can test batteries, print the results, and then stick the little piece of paper to the battery, so I've got a record of what it was like last time. So those are two of my favourite toys, and they happen to be Topdon products. Well, recently Topdon asked me if I'd like to do a test on the Artlink 500B, which is OBD2 Scanner and battery tester. It's kind of like two products combined into one. Obviously I said yes, I'd love to test it. Again, you know, these are going to be my words. Nobody's paying me for anything. I am grateful that I've been sent it for free. But yeah, no bias here. So all the information's on the back. Feel free to freeze frame. I'm not going to read for you, but the essential stuff is it does 12 volt and 24 volt batteries of the regular AGM, gel and EFB varieties. It does OBD2 scanning and covers all of the bases that you would expect of a generic code tool. It also allows you to do some live monitoring of data. So let's have a good look at this. A little tag, pull that out. Very similar to the packaging on my other Topdon stuff. Really nice, rugged, is not going to fall apart at the seams the second you use it. So look what we've got. We have the quick user guide. Okay, so this is very much like the quick start guide you might get in a car manual. It's telling you what each of the features does, as in the buttons. It's telling you where the battery might be in your car. So yeah, very basic. Then we've got this little user manual. Let's have a look what we got in here. Is it all English? Probably not. Oh, I stand corrected. The whole of this is in English. This is the English edition. That's quite nice then. So there's plenty of info. Right, safety stuff. Buttons. Very similar info that we've just seen. It's just telling us there's no battery inside the unit, which at first seems like a negative, but on the other two there's no battery inside either, and I think that's brilliant. There's nothing to go wrong, nothing to wear out, nothing to fur up. It requires connecting to the car to run, and that's fine by me. There's a little bit of information about the home display, the menu, telling you what you can do once you're all connected up, and procedure for clearing codes. It takes you through that. IM readiness, data streams, freeze frame. Okay, this is quite nice. Right, go in. There's what you see when you open up the packaging. So this is the OBD2 socket, and it's got the same light up end as on my Artlink 600, which is brilliant because it's always dark where you're trying to find where to plug these in and trying to work out which orientation to fit them. So that's great. They haven't cheaped out on that. And it's got screw-in connectors so that it's not going to come loose from the device. Battery cables for doing your battery tests. Again, screw-in terminals. Reasonable quality wiring. And I'm just having a look at the grippers themselves. And if I compare that to my dedicated battery tester, you can see that it is a little different in design. The construction is a little cheaper. We have plastic pivot points, but solid copper teeth. There is a connecting wire between both sides of the jaw. These are better. This is a more substantial grip, but in isolation, that looks perfectly fine to me. And then we pull out the device, and it's looking very familiar. So the same sort of design as my OBD2 reader, the Artlink 600. But if I put these alongside for you, the most significant difference is just the size. The dedicated unit, the Artlink 600, has a bigger screen. Both units have this little colour code here, which is a kind of shortcut to, is there any faults? The buttons are the same rubber as these, with screen printed text on, meaning that they're nice to use, easy to fumble around if you're wearing gloves, etc. Same reservation that the lettering is not embossed, it's printed. So if you had a little bit of brake fluid on your gloves or your fingers, over time these would wear off. But, you know, I'm picking flies there a little. The device is a very similar material. It has a socket in the bottom that's covered up, mini USB. That will be for updates. Obviously shares a connector between the OBD2 and the battery testing cables. The only difference in terms of portage is on the dedicated unit we have a separate charge point and download update point with an SD card, enabling us to remember some data, and gives you another way of porting it from here to a laptop or storing the information somewhere else. Gotta say, it's a more handleable size than my dedicated unit. I'm going to pull this off so we can see if it's pretty, but I'm going to save this to pop back on. There we go, quite a nice attractive looking unit, I think you'll agree. Let's put on the OBD2 cable. Nice Velcro strap on that. We do have another port here. Now that we don't have on my Artlink 600. Let's go in there. Okay, I've had a really good look through the instruction book and the box and all the other packaging, and there is no reference to this tail on the OBD2 testing cable. Now my instinct is that that is an external power input to enable this to light up and deliver information when it's not connected to a car. But if anybody wants to correct me on that or inform me on that, I'd be very pleased. There is nothing in the instruction. So with the first impressions out of the way and being mainly positive, let's put this onto my car and use it as an OBD2 scanner to see how it performs and feels and how intuitive it is. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to plug in the scanner. Now here's my steering wheel. The socket on a Jaguar XK8 is here. And it's running forwards and backwards away from you. You can get your head under and look up. OBD2 sockets have to be within reasonable distance of the driver's knees. So you're always looking here, along the bottom of the steering column, the center console, etc. But it should be in that easy radius of the steering wheel. Let's turn the little light on. There we go, that's very useful. And that tells me I'm the wrong way around. To that socket there. And there we go. That's immediately lit up the display. I'll just hook this over the steering wheel and reposition myself. There we go. So that's where I like to hang my scanner. It just makes everything convenient. And because you've got a little Velcro cable wrap on these, same on my other device, what you find is if the cable won't hook over nicely like this one has, then you can easily just wrap that around the wheel and it's suspended, ready for you to use. So let's have a go with this. It's not touchscreen and neither is my other one. So you maneuver around the icons using these keys at the bottom. At the moment my ignition is off. So you've got setup at the bottom and you can set the language, units of measure, so that's whether it's going to be metric or imperial. Record mode will allow the unit to store the data that it's collected. So we've got that ticked on or ticked off. We'll go for on. And beeper is all the noises that are coming when I press the buttons, and I quite like those. So we'll come out. Got help. And what that does, it gives you some script-based information about OBDs and how to do printing and how to do emissions or IM tests. So if I just put about OBD, what is OBD? And you've got text-based information spread over a couple of pages that tells you a little bit about the system. And it says here, OBD2 is on all 1996 cars and light trucks sold in the US. So OBD2 just has come in as this car was being launched, and it is not fully active on my car, so some features are not enabled, but legally it had to be there. We've got the info, which just tells you a little bit about the system you've got and hardware versions, software versions, etc. We've got print, which you would have to be hooked up to a PC with Windows, but you can print off some of the data that you've generated using this machine. Lookup, which I think is a brilliant little feature. So even if you've not got a particular code, maybe you want to look up the code that's been mentioned somewhere or you've seen it previously. So you can insert a code. I'm going to put in a very generic one, which I just happen to know. So you scroll to the digit, then use the up and down buttons to set the digit to a particular number, like that, P0111. Click, and it says P0111 generic intake air temperature sensor, circuit range or performance problem. You've got review, which is to review data that you've already collected. Remember we set that record function. So review OBD data or review battery testing data. IM is emissions related tests. If I click that, it's trying to find a system or language that it can communicate with the car in. And there we go. And as I said before, my car is a very early car for this sort of diagnostic work, and so we've only got a few ticks on there, and those ticks, the green ones, are misfires. It would log those. CCM, I'd have to look that one up myself. And HRT, and I'm sure that's not the HRT I'm thinking of. So I would actually have to look those up. Emissions are not my bag as a rule. But it's showing the systems it's able to monitor. Battery test would have the other cables on and would be actually connected to the battery. So I'll do that separately for us. And then we've got the main one, OBD2. So let's see if there's any code. I don't believe there's any codes on my car at the moment. Now I've got the ignition on. So the emissions status is off because the engine is not running. Codes in the ECU, 0, good news. Readiness completed on 3 items. That will be the 3 things I can monitor on mill. Not supported on 7 items. And I've got 23 things that I can data stream. That's good. That means we can monitor things live. Press OK. And we can read codes, erase codes, go back again to the emissions stuff, data stream, freeze frame, or do an O2 test. If I press read codes, the vehicle has no fault codes. If it had a code, it would bring up like P0111 along with the description. So that's good. Go back. I could erase the codes. Maybe I've made a fix. And you have to erase the code to see if it comes back again. Let's go to data stream. And we'll go graphic items, things it can do a graph of. Let's go for that, just for interest. And we get a big list of all the things where it can monitor live and graph. So we've got load value, engine coolant temperature. I'm going to press OK by that one, and it's going to put a tick over here. Short-term fuel trim, long-term fuel trim, short-term fuel trim bank 2, engine RPM, vehicle speed, advance for cylinder number 1, intake air temperature, airflow rate, absolute throttle position, oxygen sensor output. So there's a lot of really good stuff you could use to help you diagnose issues. I'm going to pick up on absolute throttle position because it's easy to change. It's literally looking at where the throttle is. And if you can remember, I also ticked the coolant temperature. Now, if I touch the throttle pedal, you'll see the yellow trace, the colours might not come well on this screen, has moved. And if I depress it all the way, it goes to 92%. That'll make me investigate, does the throttle open fully? Maybe I need to adjust the cable, or maybe my carpet's stuck underneath my pedal. Release. And it goes all the way back down again. And the low reading down is 5. That's the max, that's the min. Down the bottom here, throttle position, 5.5 when it's fully closed, and yeah, 89, 90.2 when it's fully open. So definitely worth an investigation. The middle trace is our temperature, which is running at 9 degrees. And obviously if the engine was running, that would start to climb. We'd be able to monitor that. So you can do all that sort of cool stuff. So let's switch this over into battery mode. And inserting this one. So let's just pop the boot. Come round here. Let's see how we go. So in an XK8, your battery is underneath the boot floor cover. And this is going to be interesting because, as you can see, using my BT300P, the dedicated battery tester, I was able to print off full set of results direct from the machine, and we can do a bit of comparison. So I'm not expecting the same results, and the car has stood, it has to be said, for quite some time without being started now. So we're going to connect up positive to the positive. Now always connect battery testers to your battery. Don't use the remote starting or charging points under the bonnet or anywhere else in any of the cars. You've got to be testing the battery. Anywhere else you get fake results, and in some cases you may actually cause some damage. So we'll switch over to battery test. And we've got a selection of tests. We've got battery test, literally how's the battery, cranking test, how does it perform when it's trying to start the car, and charging test, how's the alternator working. There's also system test. Now what system test does is it goes through all of these in sequence. So yeah, let's cut straight to this. Let's do the whole thing and let it lead us by the nose. So we'll go system test and press the OK button, and it's asking us, is this a regular flooded AGM spiral, etc. It's a regular flooded battery. Please select a standard. Most car batteries you're going to find a CCA number on. CCA is cold cranking amps, and it's telling you how many amps it should put out whilst it's cranking a cold engine. So we know that that's a 900 cold cranking amp battery, so we'll go for CCA, but all the other standards that might be written on your battery are there. I'm already set to 900, but you could change it using the up and down keys to set a number. 900 is obviously a popular one. And away it goes. Now it's saying please start the engine, because we're going for a full system test, remember. Press OK. It's looking at the ripple. That's the variation in current coming out the alternator. Keep all electrical appliances off and increase RPM to 2,500 and hold. Then press OK. Okay. Testing. Turn on accessories, headlights, etc. and press OK. Excellent. And it's telling us we got good charging, but amber light has come on down here, so you know, could be better. Health is 61% because it had 703 cold cranking amps compared to the 900 when it was new. Charge is only 23% at 12.14 volts. That does make sense. This car's been stood for nearly a month because of the bodywork being done. Internal resistance 4.2 milliohms, and it is rated at 900 cold cranking amps. I've pressed the down button. The cranking test was normal. Cranking time was 1.64 seconds to start the car, and voltage dropped to 10.67 whilst trying to start the car. But it said that's good, that's green. Charging, when loaded, it's given 14.34. Unloaded, 14.49. That's with the headlights and aircon on and off. Ripple is the amount of variation in current coming our way from the alternator, which is trying to change alternating current to direct current. 14 millivolts, which is very little. So other than this amber, the other two are green. I'll put the battery on charge and I think they'll get a good result on that as well. What do I think of this? And am I going to replace my 2 units with this one? Well, my overall opinion is that for average users, this is superb, and it's superb value for money. So if you just want 1 unit to cover most bases for a general amateur home mechanic, to be able to read the generic codes from your car, to be able to do a full suite of battery tests, be able to do some quite cool stuff with graphing and a little bit of diagnostic yourself, this is the complete package from a great brand. It's not as sophisticated as my dedicated unit, and it doesn't have the deluxe feature of an onboard printer that my dedicated battery tester has. But in so many other regards, that does 90% of what most people want in 1 unit. Brilliant. However, I don't need duplicates, and I've got these 2 and do enjoy the extra features, so I'm giving this away. That is having its little bit of film stuck back on its window, is going back in his pouch, back in his box, and will be sent to one of my subscribers. How can you make that subscriber you? Well, first of all, subscribe to the channel, simples. Next, before the last day in March 2023, please comment in the description below. There's no exact phrase or anything to use, this is not a competition. Just indicate you would like to own the Topdon gadget. What I'll do then, on the 1st of April, I will use a random number generator and I'll film whatever I'm up to so that you guys know it's all legit, and come up with a number. I will then count down the comments until I get to that number. I'll just confirm that that is a subscriber to the channel, and if it is a subscriber to the channel, I'll send that anywhere in the world at my expense. So share the wealth. What it does mean is I will need your contact details in terms of a name and address. So again, if you're subscribed, click the little bell icon and you'll know when the next video is coming up, because when I announce the winner, obviously you need to contact me. Although I shall give you a shout out in the video and in the comments, you need to contact me with your address, postal details, so I can send this to you. Thanks again to Topdon. So, not sponsored, they've not paid me any money, and all those thoughts my own. Please sort out the Apple compatibility, but I love your kit. Really good. See you soon, guys. Bye! If you're enjoying our channel, then don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notifications of new videos. And please give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, and you can share the videos. And below the video is always the area where you can comment and get involved with the chat.